So we're going to start off by reading the statement that was put out by Chantelle Cameron. She states the following: I'm gutted to have come on here and write this today. I'm gutted to have come on here and write this today. Bad grammar, but we'll roll with it. But I've had no option after the statement that was issued last night and the harassment, threats and witch hunt that came after. Firstly, I'm sorry that Ellie feels the way she does. I respect her as a fighter. I wish the situation was different, but as female fighters, we'll always have to work harder to prove ourselves. I would have hoped that she would have understood the situation and how important our mental health is going into fights like these, especially as the away fighter in Dublin. Sorry, excuse me, something's got stuck there. Where Katie is hailed as a national hero, national treasure. The last thing I need is more intimidation. Jesus. I feel I'm a fighter, but I'm a human too. All right. And then she continues by stating the following. We're here. A few years ago, I almost walked away from a sport I loved because of what I went through with my team and was not in a good mental or physical place at all. I cannot begin to describe how horribly I was treated, and it's a part of my life that I want to try and forget. Unfortunately, due to a non-disclosure agreement forced upon me, an NDA, I can't disclose any of the details of this, which is why I've never told the story. Moving on, let's see what the story is. Okay, so it continues here. A few years ago, I was almost walking away from a sport I loved because of what I went through with my team and was not in good mental or physical place at all. I cannot begin to describe how horribly I was treated, and it's a part of my life that I want to forget. Unfortunately, due to a non-disclosure agreement forced upon me, I can't disclose any of the details of this, which is why I've never told the story. All right, I'm repeating that, I suppose. And then she says, I have worked so hard since that point to put this behind me, to grow from it, to find my confidence again, to feel positive, to fall back in love with this amazing sport and surround myself with people that want to look after me and always put my best interest at heart. Ellie is right when she said that she has fought on the same cards as me before, but on those occasions, only the people closest to me know what I had to go through because of this, and did what was necessary to make sure I stayed on track and positive and not let that affect my mindset and my performance despite the emotions it triggered. Okay? And then she writes, so it brings me to this point where I am in the biggest fight of my life, and what I have worked towards for all these years. It has not been an easy road, and it has not been an easy decision for my team to make, but we have to protect me in this situation, and I have to protect myself. Okay. So we were here. I have to protect myself. And says, I'm sorry this impacts Ellie. This is not about her. And even though I don't appreciate being publicly bullied and shamed into trying to change the decision last night, I really do wish her well moving forward and know that there are big opportunities around the corner for her. That's rather patronizing, but you know. It's not my nature to air my grievances or emotions in public, and I would never have mentioned anything about this, especially on social media, but feel like I've been left with no choice but to defend myself, having been attacked for trying to protect myself. This is the last I'll be saying on this matter. I will continue to fully focus on training and the mammoth fight ahead. All right. So let's look at the statement that was put out by what's his name? Shane McGuigan. We'll look at that next, and then we move on to my commentary. So here's a statement put out by Shane McGuigan. I'm so disappointed that Ellie is caught in the crossfire by the demands of Chantelle's team preventing Ellie's dream world title shot previously announced on the homecoming card of her idol. I reject Chantelle's suggestion about her treatment. We were sad to lose Chantelle from our gym, and we've always wished her all the best. At the same time, she left in the same period as 4 other boxers who all joined the same organization. We did things through the correct channels. Let's move down a little bit. Let's see what's up. Through the correct channels. There we are. Through the correct channels. The BBB of C had a hearing in relation to what she claimed and confirmed that Chantelle had no justification for walking away from our management. I've never spoken about Chantelle's situation, and I'm only doing it now because she's repeated damaging and false accusations. It goes on to state the following. Ellie and Chantelle have fought on 2 cards before with no issues. We're confused that this is now being given as a reason to pull Ellie's fight off the card, and we suspect that other forces are involved with this, which is so unfair to Ellie. Okay. Move down a little bit. I would never do something to affect the mental health of any fighter. I have suffered immeasurable grief and sadness in my life and had my own mental health struggles. I will fight tooth and nail for my female fighters, and I'm proud to currently train and manage two of the best in the world. I hope that a solution can be found with Eddie and Matchroom for Ellie's sake to get her the dream fight that she thought was right in front of her. I'll be making no further comment on this.
So I don't really know what went down between Chantelle Cameron and the McGuigans, Shane McGuigan to be specific. I didn't even know that he was a trainer or anything like that. I don't know the backstory as such, but what I do have before me, judging it based upon what I see on social media, which is the only evidence I can take from, and I can sort of deduce my conclusions from. I'll say this: I don't know who's guilty, but I do know that in as much as the impact that it's going to have on female boxing, that is going to be very, very negative. And I don't think that Chantelle Cameron actually thought it through. Basically, I think that it was a very, very selfish move, and I don't think it just affects the other lady, Scottney, whatever her name is. I think it's going to. If I was a promoter, right, and I was looking at what was going on, and female boxing is just on the ascendance at the moment. It's on the ascendance. You know, there's still a lot of people who are just like, you know, they have their doubts. They're quite cynical. They're skeptical about the whole thing. They feel that it's a niche product. They feel that it's a bit like they feel that to support it is actually quite condescending and patronizing. That is not necessarily that good. And I myself will tell you that if I'm watching female boxing, it's not necessarily strictly about the females who are boxing. It's about the personalities. It's about the, you know, looks have a lot to do with it. There might be a variety of reasons. For example, I don't necessarily believe that people support Clarissa Shields strictly on her boxing. I don't think that a lot of them can tell you what she does well. You know what I'm saying? They feel that within her specific part of the sport that she dominates, and that's about it. And she dominates, and she comes from a particular background, and that's why they will support her. That's the reason why I don't think they really look at her footwork. They don't look at what kind of punch she has, whether she has a wicked, you know what I mean, hook or jab or whatever. They don't look at none of that. So let's just keep it real. When it comes to a fighter like Katie Taylor, she represents a specific group of people as well. That plays a part. You know what I'm saying? And she also lives up to a particular image. If you see images of Katie Taylor, there is a deliberate attempt to sort of have her hair in a particular kind of way that isn't fashionable, that sort of says that she's almost like a farm girl. You know what I'm saying? It's almost deliberate. She could be a lot tidier than what she appears to be, but I think the untidiness of her hairstyle is actually quite deliberate. And to be honest with you, that takes some effort in itself. So, you know, when you look at Amanda Serrano, she plays a whole Latino, Puerto Rico, in my heart thing. You know, they all do it. However, so do male boxers. However, when it comes to the female aspect of the sport, is on the ascendance, yes. But I do feel that what Chantelle Cameron has done here has knocked it back down a few steps. Because if I'm a promoter and I see a female boxer, all right, and I'm actually, you know, I've got my reservations about it, but I feel like maybe I take a risk and put some female boxers on and so on and so forth. And suddenly, in a fight that is probably a very high profile fight, extremely high profile fight, you know what I'm saying? In regards to one of the biggest, can I call her a star? Or let's say star. Katie Taylor is one of the biggest female stars in female boxing at the moment. You understand me? And her opponent says, oh, simply because of some situation I had with another trainer, I am going to cancel this whole show. I was like, you know, this is so basically, this also feeds into a stereotype about women. Now, you could say that men probably could be the same, but I don't think to this extent. I think this is really pathetic. I think this really feeds into the notion that women are weak, that they are the gentler and weaker sex, and, you know, they have to be handled with kid gloves. They have to take into considerations all this and all that. It is really, really bad. It does make you seem as if like women and men, female boxing, is not on par with male boxing when a woman can actually get another female boxer off the card simply because of the relationship she supposedly had with a former trainer. When she could just be hard about it, concentrate on the task at hand, she's willing to throw all that away. Destroy a whole big show. A big show. And you know, she can claim mental health, whatever the fuck. You want to tell me you're not tougher than that? Well, what the fuck are you doing in the boxing ring then? What the fuck are you doing in the boxing ring then? This is a hurt game. And you have to be able to, so when life happens, each and every time there's a situation, you're just going to say, I can't do it because, you know, it's going to affect my mental health. And everybody has to say, oh, bless. I think that Eddie Hearn has been very diplomatic about it, but I think he really hates this situation. You got to be honest. He has no other choice, of course, because he doesn't want this fucking show to get flushed down the toilet. He already lost the Taylor Serrano fight. It was supposed to be Taylor Serrano, but now is it's Taylor Cameron. And it's thinking, yo, this is a brilliant replacement. And suddenly this woman crops up and says like, oh, we're going to be in the same card as Sandy Ryan, or I don't know, Scotney, whatever her name is. So my overall point of view is like, Chantelle Cameron speaking this stuff about Ellie Scotney. You know what I mean? I forgot her name. I knew that it was Scotney, but Ellie Scotney, right? It does a great disservice to female boxing on the whole. It goes beyond. There are wider implications to what she's just done there. She really has reinforced a very negative stereotype of women in general, of being overly emotional and incapable of compartmentalizing stuff when necessary. We sort of buy into the idea that women can multitask. But it seems to me that this is a flaw, all right, that people are going to exploit for their own misogyny or whatever against female boxing. Because let's face it, boxing itself is a very misogynistic sport. That is what Barney Bridges is exploiting. That is what quite a few are doing nowadays, where they start OnlyFans pages for the purpose of exploiting men who should be celebrating these athletes as boxers. But let's keep it a buck. These females know what the deal is. They know that they're not just going to be able to make enough money out of just boxing or be appreciated. Forgive me. They might be able to make enough money, but not be appreciated strictly as boxers. That's why you got Michaela Mayer. She started an OnlyFans page. Sulim Obina started an OnlyFans page. I don't know why she bothers, to be honest with you, but, it is what it is. I'm sure there's an audience out there for that. Barney Bridges, you know what I'm saying? She didn't even need to start an OnlyFans page, but there you have it. You wait till you get like a white girl, all right, that black guy is fancy. You know what I'm saying? In boxing. Are you going to see that girl go stratospheric? But, I'm saying all that to say there's certain things about female boxing that we need to take in consideration that goes beyond boxing. And this, whether you see the whole OnlyFans thing as a negative thing, it works for them. But this here, what Chantelle Cameron has done with this complaint, and it's just really, really bad. In fact, she's impacted the accessibility of another boxer to be on a big stage, on a big platform in Dublin, in a big fight, based upon some feeling she might have. I mean, she could, should she actually, if there is this thing where you have these female boxers and they're all for female boxing and they're all for developing that aspect of the sport, shouldn't she actually be able to get past that and look towards a female boxer who is connected to that trainer that she has a problem with and say, okay, I have interest for that girl. I'm willing to make that sacrifice. But no. It's some other shit. I don't know. Listen, unless they physically assaulted this woman, I don't know what the fucking problem is. What I hear, the rumor is that there was a struggle between the McGuigans and MTK Global, who she wanted to go off with at that time. And quite frankly, she probably felt the pressure a little bit more than people like Josh Taylor and Frampton and who else. All of them had a very negative point of view towards the McGuigans at that time. And the McGuigans had a problem with MTK because they didn't like the guy behind it, the Kinahans. They believed that they were gangsters. So that is something outside the scope of boxing. That was a personal thing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Shane McGuigan actually wrote when it came to Josh Taylor, like, if you're looking for loyalty, get yourself a dog. Josh Taylor, threw a hissy fit and said all sorts of things about the McGuigans as well. So, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. But I do think, like, in general, overall, what Chantelle Cameron has done is not good for female boxing. It has very negative connotations. It feeds into very negative tropes and stereotypes about females in general. It's something that can be exploited by misogynists and people who don't even want to entertain female boxing overall. Dinosaurs like Bob Arum and so on, who have a very negative view about female boxing, probably pay lip service because it's politically correct and they don't want to get cancelled. But let's keep it a buck. She's reinforced some very negative things about female boxing here. And I don't think that's good for the sport anyway, but, it is what it is. Personally, I just don't think it's good for the promotion, for promoters. I think promoters can exploit it. I think that for once, Eddie Hearn just found himself in a bind with this situation. They're like, oh, for fuck's sake. First I had this problem with Amanda Serrano, who suddenly cancelled out of the blue. And now you got this other situation with Chantelle Cameron, all based upon external factors. But, if you're going to have that within a short period of time, dealing with a pool, I was going to say gene pool. Yeah, let's say gene pool. Let's call it, just for the sake of a phrase that is applicable. A gene pool that isn't that wide. They don't really have that many to choose from. Then why bother? Why bother? It's rubbish, man.